Alright, so welcome to another video in this series. In the last video, we tackled the diatonic chords of the major scale, functional harmony, and the basics of voice leading. In this video, we're going to build on that foundation by looking at diatonic seventh chords and their impact on both functional harmony and voice leading. Before we get started, you may have noticed that I have not actually done a video on harmony for minor scales. And that's because I've actually already done a video on that topic as part of the previous series. So if you're interested in that one, you can find it with the link in the corner of the screen. But with that, let's get back to the topic at hand and talk about seventh chords. So the first thing we need to know is how to actually find the diatonic seventh chords of the major scale. And this is pretty simple and straightforward. We just simply use the exact same skip-add rule that we used to find the diatonic triads. All you need to do is add one more skip-add to each triad, skipping the sixth and adding the seventh. For example, let's take our C major triad. We added our fifth, which was a G, so we're going to skip the sixth and add the seventh, which in the key of C major is a B. Following the same pattern, the D minor triad would have a C added, and so on and so forth. Now, there are many different types of seventh chords that you can work with, but only 4 occur naturally within the major scale, and these are the ones that we'll concern ourselves with for the rest of this video. Each of these 4 types of seventh chords can be seen as being just regular triads, but with an added major or minor third on top. For example, if we take a major triad, like C major, and just slap another major third on top, we get what is called a major seventh chord. Likewise, if we take a minor triad, like D minor, and just add another minor third on top, you get what is called a minor seventh chord. But things get a little trickier when you take a major triad, like C major, but add a minor third interval on top. This type of chord is called a dominant seventh. Naturally, you can probably tell from the name that it belongs to the dominant chord family in functional harmony. This type of chord in particular really wants to resolve to the chord a perfect fifth below it, which is usually whatever chord is built on the first scale degree of your scale. In this case, C major. Finally, if we take our diminished triad, or B diminished, and go ahead and slap another minor third on top, we get what is called a minor 7 flat 5 chord. Now, if you remember from the last video, since all major scales follow the same pattern of intervals, they also share the same exact order of diatonic chords. And this rule includes the seventh chords. So the order for all diatonic seventh chords of every single major scale follows this exact pattern. Major 7, minor 7, minor 7, major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, and minor 7 flat 5. Likewise, all natural minor scales will include this exact pattern. Each of these different types of seventh chords brings its own rich, new sound to your toolbox as a composer. Personally, I find that the major 7 sounds a little wistful, while the minor 7 sounds a bit more like it's pining for something, but I encourage you to play around with these sounds and find descriptions that work well for you. Regardless, they definitely help bring a little more nuance than the traditional happy sound of major triads and sad sound of minor triads. So our natural next step is to wonder how these seventh chords impact our functional harmony. The short answer is they don't, which is wonderful news. You can use the very same strategies we covered in the last video to keep writing your chord progressions and just simply include any seventh chords whenever you feel like it. However, we will need to adjust our approach to voice leading. So in the last video, we talked about some basic rules that you can follow for voice leading your chords to achieve a more professional and contemporary sound in your harmony. Here they are as a quick reminder. The good news is that these very same rules apply to our seventh chords. However, there are a few more things that we want to consider. The first approach is arguably the simplest. It's called three-way close with independent bass. Basically, What this means is that the root of the chord is still going in our bass line, but it's not getting doubled. Instead, the remaining 3 notes are voiced as if they were their own independent triads. For example, if we were to voice lead a C major 7 to an F major 7, with this strategy, we'd have a C and F in our bass line, but we'd essentially be voice leading an E minor triad to an A minor triad above.
E and A are a perfect fourth apart, so we are going to keep the one common tone in the same voice and move the other 2 by step.
This strategy is particularly useful for when you're using a combination of both triads and 7th chords in your harmony. Since good voice leading typically involves keeping the same number of voices in your harmony at all times, you wouldn't want to be working with a total of 4 parts in most chords, and then just suddenly wind up with a single chord that has 5 total voices. It would throw off the independent feeling that you typically want to go for when you're voice leading in the first place. However, if you do like working with lots of extended chords and harmonies, then the second strategy can be very useful. It's called 4-way close with independent bass. Basically, it's just the original strategy we learned. Double your root note, put it in the bass, and then voice lead the remaining notes as normal. The only difference is that now we need to voice 4 notes instead of 3. And with that, we've reached the end of another video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe to the channel and share it with anyone else that you think might enjoy it. A quick shout out goes to my amazing patrons. I appreciate each of you and the incredible support that you have all shown me and this channel. I also want to thank each of you who are watching my videos for the incredible love and support that you've been sharing in the comments and emails that I've been receiving. It makes me really happy to know that so many of you are finding my videos helpful. So until next time, keep studying, keep working hard, and as always, keep writing new music.